Let's be real, the LG G5 had a lot of promise, but it ultimately wound up being more of a letdown than a leap forward. It's a shame too. This time last year I was almost completely sold on the company's vision of modularity, but that's all gone now. The LG G6 is a return to normalcy, and while it might not seem as immediately exciting as the model that came before it, maybe that's exactly what LG needs. Really, the weirdest thing about the G6 is its screen. Instead of the usual 16:9 aspect ratio, this 5.7-inch panel is 18:9. The whole of LG's UI, which is now in version 6, is tuned for this longer than usual screen, and it's actually pretty helpful. When snapping photos with the G6's dual cameras, your shots appear in a handy photo strip on the left. When you rotate the phone while looking at your contacts, you get your friends' profile pictures on one side and all of their phone numbers and handles on the other. And beyond specially tuned apps, there's just more room for your messages and your keyboard to coexist. It's, well, pretty neat. Speaking of neat, Google's Assistant is on board too, and so far it seems to work just as well as it did on the Pixels. Anyway, you'd think a phone with an offbeat screen would feel kind of weird, but it's actually the opposite. The G6 feels great with its aluminum body and Gorilla Glass front and back. If the LG G5 felt like something Fisher-Price made, which it did, the G6 feels like a serious machine. There's something really viscerally impressive about a phone that's almost all screen. It gives the phone a more narrow feel too, which is a really comfortable change after years of using really wide devices. There are other upsides too. You can fit two reasonably big square app windows when you use Android Nougat's multi-window mode, which feels awesomely spacious. The screen's rounded corners are eye-catching too, but they're apparently just as handy for reducing stress on the screen when dropped as they are for looking cool. There are definitely a few trade-offs to keep in mind. The 3300 mAh battery is bigger than what we've got before, but it's completely sealed in the device. And you'll have to go to Korea if you want to get the sweet quad DAC, which kind of sucks after getting something similar in last year's LG V20. In exchange, US customers are getting wireless charging, which, sure, I guess I can live with that. And instead of the snappy new Snapdragon 835, we're working with the more familiar Qualcomm Snapdragon 821. LG sees this chipset as a more reliable choice for now, and you're really not losing out on a whole lot, especially with 4 GB of RAM on board. Zipping through the interface, launching apps, and playing the occasional high-performance game all felt pretty smooth. We're at the point where steps forward in performance just aren't as jaw-dropping as they used to be, but the gadget freak in me still can't help but wish for the latest and greatest. As it turns out, the twin 13-megapixel cameras around the back are more than respectable too. We managed to squeeze out some really great-looking shots out of it on this sunny Barcelona day, and switching between the two is basically seamless thanks to a little help from Qualcomm. Throw in some funky square shooting modes and we've got a photo package that's just way more pleasant than the G5. I was skeptical about LG's about-face on modularity, but maybe I shouldn't have been. The G6 is a more sensible smartphone for sure, but it's a lot more elegant because of it. Stay tuned for our full review and a whole lot more from mobile.